Okay, in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys through how to create an unsymmetrical airfoil. So the upper camber and lower camber are going to be different. Alright, if you haven't already created the symmetrical airfoil, you can take a look at that video as well. That might be an easier airfoil to get started with, as this one there's a few different commands because it is going to be a little different on top and bottom, do a couple different things. So the symmetrical might be a little easier to get going with than the unsymmetrical, but you could start either or. It depends on how comfortable you are with Inventor. Alright, so we're going to use Inventor software. Again, make sure that your thumbnail sketches are finished. You get those and checked by your instructor. They're signed off. You talk about your ideas with your instructor, and then from there you can move on to your 3D rendering. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to open up Inventor. I already have that open to save a little time, and I'm going to create a new standard IPT or part file. I'm going to create that. Now remember, the perimeters for your airfoils, they can't be any larger than 3 inches in length and 1 inch in height. And you can go as far as making it from about 2 1/4 in length and anywhere between 1/2 and 5/8 in the thickness of the airfoil itself. I recommend nothing smaller than that because it's going to get very hard to fabricate and drill it and things like that. So just kind of think about that, and hopefully you already talked to your instructor about that, about some of the positives and disadvantages with doing some different things with design and thickness and length and things like that with it. But anyhow, what you're going to do is once you have that final design, we open up Inventor. We have a new part file here. We're going to go into create a new 2D sketch. So we're going to create 2D sketch, and we're going to select this plane here. It is the XY plane, so go ahead and select that. And what you're going to do is create a rectangle, and I'm going to select the origin point here. Alright, and this is the XY. You can see how it's 0, 0, it says right there. And I'm going to go ahead and make this 3 inches for the length, and tab over. And for the height of this, we're going to make this a 1. So it is my maximum parameters here. And I just double click my center mouse button so I can see everything there. So this is the airfoil has to fit with inside these parameters right here. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is with my design, I'm just going to use my line tool, and I'm going to find my midpoint. So I drag my cursor down this vertical line. You see I get a green dot right there. That's my midpoint. And I'm just going to create a line that goes over 0.5. And again, your design's probably going to be a little different. You're going to probably play around with some of the tools and stuff with Inventor, but I'm just taking you through an example. Alright, so I'm going to make that a 1/2 inch back, and I'm going to use my circle tool. And just to show you some different tools here with my circle tool, I'm going to select this point, and I'm going to make this 1 inch in diameter. So I have a nice circle there. I'm going to press escape. And now I'm going to trim out some of these items here because I don't need a full circle with my design. So I'm going to select trim out half that circle. The next thing, I'm going to go to my line tool. I'm going to go to the midpoint on the other side. Select that green dot. I'm going to come up about 0.125, about 1/8 of an inch. And now I'm going to select my arc tool. And I'll go to that point, come to this point. I'm just going to round that over. Alright, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my arc tool and go to this point, to the midpoint, and I'm going to curve that a little bit. Okay, so I'm using the arc tool to do that. Alright, to show you another tool, you can kind of see the general shape that I'm making here. To use a different tool, just to show you guys, it's called a spline tool. It's a freeform drawing tool. I'm just going to Control Z that bottom line. Let's say I wanted to make a freeform line tool. So that's my spline tool. And with the spline tool, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click on that snap point. And what I do with my spline tool is I can create my own curves. Let's say I wanted to get a little crazy here with some of these curves as I'm coming through. And I just need an endpoint, so I'll select that endpoint, and I'll finish that. So let's say I wanted it more of an uncommon type of curve there, something that's a little bit more peaks and valleys and things, I could do that, and I use the spline tool. So you can get really creative with the spline tool, getting some really interesting designs. That's another option for you. All right, I'm just going to keep the arc, make everything smooth and consistent. So I'll curve that up. Then what I'm going to do is, I don't like these sharp edges down here, so I'm going to round those off. So I'm going to use my fillet tool for that. I'm going to round those off. Let's see if we can do that at 0.25, so 1/4 of an inch. So just to smooth that out a little bit. That looks much better. I need to put in my area here that the dowel rod's going to go. So I'm actually going to make another guide. And I'm going to put my dowel rod, let's see, just kind of eyeballing it. I think that should work. Let's go 0.75. And I'm going to use my circle tool. Again, you want your dowel rod to be in the first third, okay, of the airfoil, the upper third of it. All right, and again, that just helps when you're creating the angle of attack and you're testing it. Gives you more accurate results and things like that. More true representation of what would actually happen if this was a true wing on an aircraft. So we're going to make that 3/16. And now what I'm doing, I'm going to clean up some of these lines and get this cleaned up here. So I'm going to press my escape tool, and I'm just going to delete some of these guidelines, some of these dimensions out of here, just as we go to extrude this and make this 3-dimensional. We don't have all these. So all I'm doing is I'm selecting these and I'm pressing delete on my keyboard. And then I'm also, when I create or delete some of these line segments out of here, I'm going to my trim tool, which is in the modify panel, and I'm just going to modify those and trim those out of there. I'm just clicking with my left mouse button, deleting those all out. So I'm basically left with my overall design here. All right, and then I'm going to finish this sketch. Now it's time to extrude this out and give it some 3-dimensional, some thickness to it. So I click on extrude, and it's going to go get extruded out at 6 inches. I'm going to click direction tool 2 here, and I'm going to extrude this back, and I'm going to extrude the circle and all the surrounding area. Okay, click OK. Now the circle disappears, but that's not a problem because we're going to bring that back up. Now if you remember, I had everything was drawn in what it was in sketch 1. We had one sketch over here in the browser. And what you want to do to bring up that sketch, because now we have a feature tied to that sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus. There's sketch 1. It's grayed out. All right, and you can see when I'm just highlighting it right now, you can see the circle's there. All right, but it's not there when I take it off, my cursor off sketch 1. So to bring that up, I'm going to right click on sketch 1, show visibility. Now it's going to show all the lines, everything that I've done within that sketch. So now I can bring back that sketch. I'm going to click on extrude again, and I'm going to extrude this circle out now at 5.5 or 5.5. I want to go in direction 1 this time. I'm going to select that point, and now it extrudes out. Now I'm going to click OK. Now you can really start seeing that airfoil take shape with the dowel rod and how it's going to be when you physically build this. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can round this off and create what's known as a fillet on here to smooth that out. So within 3D model mode, which I'm in right now, I'm going to click on fillet, and it's probably going to have to be fairly small. We'll see if it lets us even put a 0.1 radius on this, and it is allowing us. All right. If it doesn't allow you to do it, you're going to see an error message. So for example, if I put in 0.5, see that error message that pops up saying, hey, the radius is too high. It doesn't work with the design that you have right now. So we're just going to go with 0.1. Just to give it that clean look. And I'm just going to orbit this to the other side. So to orbit, again, all I have to do is shift, center mouse button, or I can orbit the view cube over here. All right, and I'm just going to select those surfaces, check that off, go back to my home button on my view cube. So again, I can orbit using the cube as well. Or there is an orbit button right here that I can orbit or like I said, Shift center mouse button, you can orbit. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in here, see what I'm doing. And next thing, I'm going to basically color this because we're getting really close to completion. So I'm going to click on my default color. Default's always that gray, and you can change this to whatever color you want. And let's see what it looks like in a clear blue. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go with, I don't like clear blue. Let's try a different one. Let's go with denim blue. Interesting color. Alright, let's stick with denim blue. Alright, so the bulk of the design is going to be this denim blue color here, and I want you to change the dowel rod though to a wood color. Alright, so to do that, it's fairly easy. If you just select the dowel, and you need to get all portions. So I'm going to hold Shift when I do this and select the end as well, that little cap there. I'm going to right click, and I want to go to Properties. And inside Properties, now I can color the face of that, and we're going to make that a wooden color. And we have yellow pine down here, so that gives us a true representation of what, you know, the dowel rod will look like, the wooden dowel rod we put in there. And you're basically done then. Alright, so that's your airfoil. This would be your unsymmetrical design. So make sure you would save that. Go in the application icon and save as. Make sure you go in your aviation folder, and wherever you're saving these airfoil designs, save that in that folder. Save it as unsymmetrical design. And then the last thing that you're going to have to do is take your symmetrical and unsymmetrical design and create a drawing file, which I also have a video for. Alright, if you have any questions, ask a classmate, ask your instructor, and good luck.